Sunday, July 18th, 2021. This is all about your Benjamins and your weekly mixtape and weekend review video. Hope you had a great week. We are coming off of a few days spent up in New Buffalo, Michigan, our annual summer vacation. Spent a few days up at the lake, enjoy it. We had great weather, so hopefully you've had a chance to get away and do something fun as a family. But that's not what this video is about, so let's get to the headlines that may or may not be impacting your financial plan and portfolio. And this week, it's all about growth. Growth in different areas. Some good growth, some bad growth, so we'll dive on in. The first one we're going to talk about is growth in the inflation area. So it came out this week that inflation in June was up over 5%. If you strip out, I think it's food and auto or something, two metrics that we shouldn't take out, but maybe food and energy, sorry. It was only up 4%, but we know that the Fed is targeting a 2% inflation rate, so this is significantly higher. So there's some comments in the first piece from Jerome Powell talking about how he still believes that a lot of this inflation that we're seeing in pricing is transitory, meaning it's going to go away, that shortages with chips and housing and other things that are out there are causing these prices to go back up, but when supply ends up meeting demand, prices will come back down. But he has said that there's not a guarantee, that they'll continue to monitor that, and that the Fed, if needed, will start to raise interest rates to keep inflation in check. So right now, kind of a wait and see, but it's definitely a significant jump. I think they said it was the highest jump in 13 years. So definitely something to pay attention to. Obviously, we feel these things when we go to the store. We try to buy different things. We see these prices going up. Be interesting to see if prices do come back. Stereotypically, historically, when inflation rises up, it very rarely settles back down. Now, this could be a unique situation given coming out of COVID and all the supply chain issues there were. So there is some truth to that argument, or I guess a possibility of truth to that argument, but we'll have to wait and see. And one of the comments I thought was interesting is Powell said that we were coming out of a period that we've never experienced before. COVID, all of the printing of money, the stimuluses that were out there. This is not something we can look back in history and see this is how things recovered coming out of an event like that. So we're in uncharted territories right now, and we'll see how things get handled. But that'll be something to watch. And obviously, as the inflation numbers continue to stay higher, I doubt they drop back down significantly. Next month, we'll see headlines come out that may or may not spook the markets. So again, inflation is something that we as planners try to factor in our planning, running ranges of inflation to see how it impacts financial plans. So this should be addressed at least from a long-term, big picture planning standpoint. But this could be a big risk to, especially those in retirement with fixed income. You figure if you're living off of a pension and Social Security, those don't usually get cost of living adjustments. If they do, they're small, and that would not keep up with a high inflation rate. So that ends up eating into the purchasing power of those fixed dollars, which is why we save and have investments to hopefully supplement that on the other side. And again, investing is one of the best ways to keep up with inflation. It doesn't mean that inflation increasing doesn't impact investments in the short term, but in the long run, it's the best way to keep up with inflation. So the next two will be a lot quicker. I won't go as much detail. In June, Americans spent more money boosting the economy. So we've seen consumer demand high, people going out spending, making up for a year of not spending, traveling, all those sorts of things. Autos were one area that were not as hot, but everywhere else there's a lot of spending going on. So that is a good thing for the economy. Now, inflation, economy doing well, which one's going to give first, we'll have to wait and see. Next one, talked about, again, growth in the government, growth in the economy increasing. So I kind of hit that on the last one. So spending is up, growth in the economy is up as well. It's looking that it might begin to slow the officials, the smart people in the room say that maybe it was in May and June that the economy peaked. Now remember, there is a business cycle, and we do hit a peak. It's all natural. We can't always keep on going up. Things do have to slow down. We won't know if it was a peak until hindsight, obviously, but that was one of the predictions. So we have inflation growing, we have consumer spending growing, we have the economy growing. Growth is the theme. And then the final article this week, just again, we talk about jobs a lot just because it impacts majority of the people. A lot of us are still working, or we have family members who are working. There are more job openings now than ever. It's at all-time high, but not all jobs are going to be coming back from the losses in the pandemic. So it highlights some of the hotels are going to bring back less people. There are bigger businesses relying on automation within their factories. So there are a number of jobs out there. It's becoming problematic that some of those jobs don't match up with the skills of those who lost employment during COVID. So it's how do we get this fixed? Is it getting those people the training and the education they need to meet these jobs? Is it people deciding to take risks and go do something different? I don't know, but that is the headline there. The headline is more jobs than ever, but they don't necessarily match up with the jobs that were lost, and that's kind of the disconnect between people having a hard time trying to hire and people having a hard time trying to find jobs to replace what it was they lost. So that is it. Nothing major else to go over from this last week. So with that, we'll let you get to your weekend. Be sure to check the mixtape down below. If you're watching on YouTube, head on over to allaboutyourbenjamins.com. Check out the mixtape. A lot of great posts as always. And thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you all in the next episode.